Now, as stated with my last video, I was talking about my mother. Um, I call her the canary. Who had environmental sensitivities. Okay. Now, she was a pioneer in the 90s. Okay, in a way for rights and somehow integration. I would say positive systemic institutional accommodation for something like an unknown and sort of unappreciated disability to do with environmental sensitivities. Okay, like I said, she would pass out if she was around any perfume or any chemicals or anything in the environment that was particularly noxious. She would just go out. Even when you wouldn't even necessarily smell the perfume yet, it would put her out, and you'd only find out later when you could smell it coming out of her pores once you dragged her out of the building. Now, she, in the early 90s, worked and advocated in the city here in order to make sure that doctors' offices and even institutions, oftentimes which people found out about her at the point of her losing consciousness, they would have managers come out there like, wow, what happened? I'd be dragging her out, with the underhooks, grabbing her and dragging her sort of like out the building into the fresh air so she can recover. She went around, and made a point of letting people know and understand the complexities of her condition and what she needed in order to be a part of life in a normal way, because she wasn't able to be. I mean, as long as people held on to their particular practices and way of life, as long as they held on to any prejudices towards her, there was no way for her to recover. She would have lived in a jail of, society's making. Just them being unwilling to hear her cause and what she needed to be properly integrated, respected in life so that she can heal and lead a normal life. Now with dysmorphia, I feel like we need to get to a place where people stop inflicting cruelty upon people that they deem to be ugly. In particular, it's the one minority that everybody seems to be okay with abusing. I mean, you have the African American community, okay, is a perfect fucking example. These people always constantly whine about and decry, and I don't want to paint all black people in a negative light due to like the indulgent sadistic abuses of what is modern day satanic hip hop culture, because that's wrong. There are a bunch of people who have been trying to escape slavery and fight for human and personal rights that had nothing to do with that. It had everything to do with the dignified accomplishment of the self and the soul. Really, we're looking to create noble communities, worthwhile, dignified communities of moral-minded people with properly social ways, okay? Lawful ways. And that satanic hip-hop culture has done them a great disservice and has really taken a hot dump on what was, generations long battle for civil rights and equal access and opportunity and compensation for the damages that have been inflicted upon their people so wrongly since the onset of colonialism here in these lands, okay? And its slavish beginnings. Now, look, okay, it's important to understand that black people were no strangers to enslaving black people. They'd been doing it all across the African continent for years. So, look, you can't paint one people with a broad brush and act like they're all represented by a skin color. It just simply isn't the case. But I digress here is to say that satanic culture is known to decry the tyrannical we. It's, no one really survives the we. Fascists apply the we, like, one man can stand up and all of a sudden account for everybody's point of view and, hold up the power of the group like they somehow speak for everyone when they don't, okay? So there is no we at law, there is I, okay? There's only we at law is if everyone signs in to the we by accounting for their lawful I, right? In so doing, not just because some asshole says I'm we. Believe me, I'm speaking for we, the tyrannical we. Now, there's no fucking we. We who, asshole, There's no we. So, not at law. So, you know, they have a way of making it look like all black people might hate ugly people, and this, they beat down on people all the time. They're like, they are Nazis. You know, black supremacy is as bad as white supremacy. It's just, again, satanic tribalism. They're playing the same game. We're going to talk about that more in videos to come. Okay? And the one sort of group of people that every, even minority, once it gets infected by satanic tribalism, seems happy to beat down on is ugly people. Because one of the main takes of that system is to take up and steal up the beautiful people of any given tribe. You know, it's like they would even do that in feudalism. You know, like if they're going to take someone from the common rabble, it's going to be the beautiful people that they want to take, or it's just going to be the king going around, it's the royalty going around sowing their wild oats, quite possibly. Which could be the story of the New Testament. You know, Herod as the God of that Bible. You know, the king who would be God. You know, Jesus, his son, making a run for the kingship and the priesthood, the kingly priesthood. Okay? Ultimately, look, that's a story. I'll talk about the Jesus story later, at a later date, when we get into a time for those dynamics, okay? And it's, you know, a claim for worldly power. Jesus said it wasn't. But again, it's the lie. You know, fascism is the lie. He's going to say that when he's making a play for worldly power, right? I'm not. My kingdom's of this another world. Bullshit. You know, the whole Old Testament was about God trying to hold the line for reclaiming his power over the world, the power that he had since its creation in Eden, and you know, him constantly losing it to defecting, evil, satanic-minded criminals who refuse to follow the law as defined in Eden. Right? Don't harm anyone. Stewardship. Don't eat the animals. Eat plants. Right? Care for one another, be united, bond, commune with one another, have kids, do it all over again. According to the law, do no evil, cease from evil. So God is always trying to war to kind of get it back, but you know, he never does, because the Jews of that book are evil as fuck. They're just terrible, evil people that keep defecting and choosing the satanic tribal order instead, their leadership, their own evil leadership, so that they can hoard wealth and rule by cruelty and violence. So we'll talk about the New Testament and who Jesus is later, as far as I can interpret it. But I digress. Back to, you know, dysmorphia and things of this nature, okay? And fighting for rights. Look, you cannot, look, it's the one minority that they will always, people who are satanic tribalists will always want you to beat up on. They're always looking for someone, a scapegoat that they can get you to believe it's okay to beat them up. Because as long as you're willing to target an innocent person and violate and abuse them, then you have no law in you. And there is no law in the land. And that's what they want. It's, again, a system of anarchy, and we can't allow it. So the whole point here is to ultimately get to a point where we can establish law and protect life and give people the dignity and freedom and opportunity and do that they deserve as human beings and people. We need the law to do that. Anarchy will never provide it. The systems of democracy, as they lie, they're going to give it to you by anarchists. They call them left-wingers. They aren't left-wingers. They're fucking right-wingers. And we'll talk about in the next video that is about, again, the dynamics of fascism further. We're going to talk about tribal Satanism a little more. Okay, and when we do that, I'll get into this in more detail. Okay. How this all kind of works out. But for now, let me just say that, look, this is something we all got to get behind. We cannot allow people to be beating up on ugly people. We have to find a way to give them the dignity they're due and respect their soul and their will to freedom and life and all the things that we would care to know and have as part of our life. They make animalistic arguments. They'll say, oh, well, they're not, you know, fit, or they're this, that, whatever. They're meant to be weeded out. Bullshit. Fucking bullshit. There's no reason to make animalistic arguments that are based in anarchy and violence and savagery and killing when we need to establish the law. And when civilization is based on the law, okay? So anyway, that's my goal. Like my mother that managed to get scents kicked out of this entire city, okay? Perfume's no longer allowed in doctor's office, not allowed in realtor stores and things of this nature. Sorry, what am I fucking talking about? What am I talking about? There are a lot of businesses in town, okay? So distribution centers, retail is what I meant to say. Retailers and this sort of thing. It was all kicked out of here. Before it was everyone wore perfume. No one does anymore, and that's one of the main reasons why. So I want to maybe move the agenda further along so that we don't tolerate people fucking abusing people based on how they look. At any level. I don't care if it's racial, I don't care if it's due to your height, your stature, fucking someone talking about your penis size, I don't care if it's your facial features, I don't care what it is. It's unacceptable, and we've got to stop it, and we've got to quit laughing along with fucking clowns like we see in the hip-hop scene that seem to turn every evil into an acceptable thing as long as you get a big swinging dick fucking Uber male fucking leading the charge with a stack full of cash with some hookers dancing off his side, okay? So let's see what we can do.